Welcome to the Turf and Touchdowns podcast. That week 9 of the NFL is pretty much all ahead of us. We've got Thursday Night Football. Our episode of Thursday Night Football preview is on our channel right now. Likely, you'll be looking back at that to see how we did. Hopefully, a few winners for the Texans against the Jets. I would say what episode number this is as well. Like episode 1000, because we've knocked 14 Breeders' Cup videos out as well. They will still be live for you, most likely, when watching this. So if you fancy betting on the horses, go take a look at our Breeders' Cup content. Myself, Luke Elder, alongside, as always, Tom Collins. And we're kind of getting used to it. We're just in different surroundings now. I'm back in the... It's not a cupboard. There were comments. It's not a cupboard. It's like a foyer to the bathroom.
Yeah, I think that's like the really upper class way of saying just a tiny little space with a door behind where I can record and not have to show the hotel room, which is fair. I kind of wish I had one of those, to be honest, because as you can see, this is the hotel bedroom that I'm in. So I'm a little bit jealous. When are you flying back to England?
Next Wednesday evening.
Okay, so when we film this podcast next week, the Sunday NFL podcast, we'll both be on our usual surroundings and everything will be back to normal.
Yes, correct. Yeah, correct. But for now, we're still in the cupboard and we're still in the hotel room. But we do have Sunday football to look forward to. Just going to consult the running order because I know it's very, very important for Tom Collins that I get everything right on that. What's Spook?
Yeah, SBK, our new sponsors moving forward. What a company.
Well, it says here that SBK are offering a 25% ACCA boost to use on this weekend's NFL matches. If you fancy any selections, mine's Tom Collins. Doesn't really matter which way around. You want to mix and match the ACCA, you get a 25% boost to make SBK the place to punt on the NFL. Head over to SBK for that and discover all the offers. Could have read that out better, but that sounds like a very, very good deal. I'm going to be heading over to SBK for that because I'm going to be taking advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, some of you guys watching at home will know that I've been working with SBK for a long time now. I've been writing columns for them on horse racing and on NFL. So this kind of fits perfectly with our podcast. SBK is all about sports betting. There's no casino. There's no slot machines. None of that rubbish roulette. We don't deal with that on this podcast. We just deal with sports. We deal with horse racing and NFL. They're perfect for creating accumulators, customizing bet builders, or even if you just want to bet a single, whether it be Luke's play of the day, my play of the day, or one of our horse racing tips on the Saturday. Just go to SBK and it's simple as anything. Their weekly offer is also fantastic and makes them the place to be if you're betting anything American sports. So yeah, if you haven't downloaded it already, head over to the SBK app. They're offering a fantastic deal for new customers, £40 in free bets when you bet your first £10. So go and sign up. T&Cs do apply.
Yeah, and look, get that extra 25% as well. Hopefully we go, quick maths, 9 from 9 this week. I think that's the right selection.
Fingers crossed. Mate,
yeah.
Can I, before we get into the actual podcast, can I quickly talk about last week, really quickly? And I don't know if what on earth's going to be, or if it's about last week or whatever. How unlucky were we? I know you're obviously in the US and you were busy with your family, but I was watching it here in Saudi up until God knows o'clock. We should have gone 8 out of 8. I know that sounds like a stupid punter's fallacy where you're like, oh, all my bets should have won. We were very unlucky. We should have had a much better week than we actually ended up doing, where we both broke even across our plays, but should have been very profitable.
Yeah, it should have been. It should have been. And that will link to my what on earth. I would have say max stakes regards to SBK, and T's and C's do apply. 18 plus only, obviously. And please gamble responsibly. I mean, I have got a what on earth, but by this point, Breece Hall has probably just ran for like 1,000 yards against the Texans and has been absolutely fine in that. But it's not even Breece Hall. Breece Hall had a real good game. Why are you giving so many carries to Braylon Allen when Braylon Allen's a good running back? He sucked. He sucked last week. Yes, he got a touchdown, but on the whole, he was awful. Breece Hall was averaging like nearly 10 yards a carry. It wasn't that far off of it. And then you were going to the 1 yard line a couple of times. Aaron Rodgers, yeah, we'll just give it to you to throw in a touchdown. And it worked. That's the annoying thing. And you give it to Braylon Allen. The reason I'm so angry about this is because I had Breece Hall to anytime touchdown, and that would have triggered the double with Breece Hall anytime touchdown with the overs on the rushing yards, which he landed because he had a great game. It was the most annoying thing going. But my other bet did land, and play of the day, Tom, also did land as well. So I'm 7-1 in that.
Yeah, you're on fire with players of the day, to be fair. I do want to say I'm the voice of the viewers right now. You should have done the rushing yards as a single.
I
I
know.
apologize, but you should have. But yeah, the touchdown killed what could have been a very, very good Sunday for you. My what on earth is going to be what on earth Green Bay Packers. And to be honest, I'm kind of gassed, mate. We've done so many podcasts this week. I don't have the energy to go all Pat McAfee on everyone here. But yeah, I put up the Packers -3.5. They ended up winning by 3 points, typically. I saw a comment from David saying you should always go 2.5 or 6.5, depending on how much you like your selection, just purely because of the scoring system in the NFL. I fully agree with that. I just thought the Packers would win by quite a margin over the Jags. And to be fair, they were 10 points up going into the final quarter. We bottled it late. We gave up a late touchdown, and then we should have scored our own touchdown. And Brooks goes down at the 4 because he doesn't want to go in the end zone with time added left. All this rubbish. We ended up winning by 3, and the bet lost. What on earth, Green Bay Packers? You're doing it to me again. It felt like a loss for my team, even though we won. That's my what on earth.
Who do you hate more on the punting aspect for turf and touchdowns? The Jets or the Packers?
I thought you were going to say Tom Collins or Luke Elder. I was going to put this in the comments for everyone.
Definitely Luke Elder.
Well, the thing is, we're recording this on Thursday, about 4 or 5 hours before the Jets play, and obviously I've got a Jets pick. So I'm going to say right now the Jets, but by the time you guys are watching this, it could be the Packers if Breece Hall goes and has a good game.
Yeah, we're hoping it's the Packers. Just to say, play of the day as well. This is the bluest play of the day victory sip that you'll see, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think I get to have a sit. No, I was with the Packers, wasn't I? Oh,
blue. This is the name of the drink is called Cool Blue.
Nice.
That's not a flavour.
No, it's not a flavour. It's not a flavour at all.
It's nice, but whatever. Right, shall we get into football stuff?
Let's get into it, mate. We've got 9 selections. Hopefully a really good week, and we've got a huge running order ready to go. Lots of player props in there and teams we like, so go.
He's lying. We don't have a running order. It was never sent. But I'm going to take the first 2 selections because they're both linked in the early part of things. But I'm focusing on the Dallas Cowboys Atlanta Falcons game, which everybody should focus on. There's going to be points in that. It's going to be a massive shootout. I think Dallas will come out on top of it. I'm taking Dallas money line. They're currently a 5-4 chance. I think that's big as well. I kind of think Atlanta are kind of frauds. They keep winning big or large scoring games, and it's kind of working for them. But they didn't look fantastic, I thought, last week. I mean, the Buccaneers were severely beaten up, and they still gave them a run for their money. And Dallas, in honesty, they haven't looked great either. But I do think Dallas are going to bounce back. They looked better against San Francisco last week. Don't take that too literally because they just blew up in the last quarter, and CeeDee Lamb managed to get 2 massive touchdowns and meant that he got a massive fantasy day. But as I say, Dallas are trying to turn things around. As I say, they were blown out by Detroit. They managed to work things back against San Francisco. I think the running game is very, very key to them, though. Rico Dowdle's back this week. He missed last week. They've also got Ezekiel Elliott, who hasn't been great this year, but they're working Dalvin Cook into things as well. But having Rico Dowdle back, at the moment, he is the best running back in the running back room in Dallas. I think he's going to be a big help. If they can utilize him, that's going to be a massive positive. So I'll take Dallas on the money line 5-4 on the road against Atlanta. And I think Jake Ferguson is going to help them a lot. His line is 45.5 on the receiving side of things. That's 10-11. The Falcons, they started off as an okay defense, but recently against tight ends, they've really struggled. Cade Otton, 9 catches, 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. Noah Fant, 4 catches for 65 yards. That was only on 4 targets as well, so he caught everything that was thrown his way. Jatavian Sanders of the Carolina Panthers, 549 in the last 3 games. Tight ends are just dominating them, and quite frankly, Jake Ferguson is the best out of those 3 names that we've mentioned. And Jake Ferguson, yes, he hasn't had the greatest of seasons. We were hoping that he was really going to elevate himself into maybe even a top 3 tight end. That hasn't happened yet. However, he's still getting the chances to do that. He was in tough matchups against Detroit and San Francisco the last couple of weeks, as we've mentioned, but he's still involved. He's had 7 or more targets in 4 of the last 5 games. That's absolutely fine. If you get those against Tampa Bay, you're going to be having a very good game. He's gone over this line 3 of the last 5 games as well. And as I say, Dallas is sorting things out. I think he's a big part of things. Expect him to have a big game. Dak will have a big game. CeeDee Lamb will have a big game as well. But Jake Ferguson over 45.5, I very much like that line. And I think he's a guy as well that every time we've sided with Jake Ferguson this year, Tom, he has landed a bet for us. So hopefully he can continue that.
Yeah, he's already done me a solid this season. I've got one thing to mention here. Firstly, obviously, best of luck to your two selections regarding Dallas. Maybe they'll win the game and Jake will cover, and that would be a fantastic target from you to go 2 out of 2 there. You mentioned the name Rico Dowdle, correct?
Oh no, where's this going, Tom?
I said to you, right, I'm going to keep this brief because everyone's not here for fantasy football chat. I had to drop Rico last week to bring someone up for my taxi squad to then win my fantasy football matchup. It went well. I said to Luke, you've got number 1 waiver priority. Please pick him up. I'll give you a draft pick for him next year in his Dynasty League. Get to waivers. 5 waivers. Oh, who's picked him up? Not Luke. Luke, you didn't even put in a waiver request. What are you doing, man?
2 things. I'm on holiday and totally forgot. And secondly, that's collusion, and that is highly against the rules and ethics of fantasy football. And I'll be forwarding this to the entire league, and they will know what a bad commissioner you are.
Yeah, cut this one out, Editor Joe, please. Let's move on to my first selection.
Editor Joe, who is in the league.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's a disaster. Okay, on to my selection. That's what everyone's here for, not that rubbish chat. My first pick is going to be in the Buffalo Bills game against the Miami Dolphins, and it's going to be Khalil Shakir over 50.5 receiving yards. That's at 10-11. The Bills have won 12 of their last 13 games against the Miami Dolphins, stretching back to 2018. They've won 11 of their last 12 home games against the Dolphins, stretching back to 2011. So they have a very good recent run against Miami, and Miami just haven't been great this year, albeit that's largely due to Tua Tagovailoa's injury and the fact that their backups are no good. Now, given how well Josh Allen's playing at the moment, I expect that streak to continue. I think Buffalo will win this game. But to do so, they're going to have to throw the ball very well because they can't do it all on the ground. Miami are going to try and stop James Cook. Josh Allen probably won't be able to scramble as much as he would like as well. This defense is going to be kind of zoning in on the running game. So they're going to have to throw the ball. And I think Khalil Shakir's line's too low here at 50.5. Shakir's become the number 1 Bills wide receiver. Keon Coleman may leapfrog him in due course, but right now he's the number 1. He's regularly the first look for Josh Allen as well on passing downs. He caught 5 balls on 5 targets for 54 yards against the Dolphins earlier in the season. That is the best example I can give you of why he will cover here. He's already done it. He's already covered this line against this team earlier in the year, and his usage has gone up dramatically since then. 2 weeks ago, he made 7 catches for 65 yards. Last week, he made 9 catches on 10 targets for 107 yards. His production's really increasing. Shakir is at his best in the middle of the field, but he can be used wide as well. So he's very versatile, and he often finds space in the zone, which is key against Miami. And most importantly with Shakir, not only is the line low at 50.5 for a wide receiver 1, in a matchup with a team that should win, he's only dropped 2 catches all year. And when I say the word dropped, I don't mean literally dropped. He's had 38 targets and 36 catches. Only 2 balls thrown in his direction he hasn't reeled in. This guy's super reliable. Josh Allen's going to look his way, and if he does, which is almost a guarantee, he should be able to cover 50.5 receiving yards. So that's my first pick, Khalil Shakir over 50.5 receiving yards against the Dolphins at 10-11.
Yeah, the weird thing with Khalil Shakir is that his usage has gone up since Amari Cooper came into town. he's had 7 times.
No one likes Cooper, mate.
No, literally, Amari Cooper had an okay game to start things off, and then there was nothing against Seattle, albeit it was a massive blowout and no one was needed for a while. But Khalil Shakir got his, and he might well get his again this week. I'm going to go away from my running order because I've realised it's a terrible running order, and Luke is stupid. So I'm going to mix mine up because I'm involved in the same game as you. I'm going to look on the other side. And your advice right then, I thought was fantastic advice. Best advice I can give to you because the player's already done it so far this year. Devon Achane, he had a great game against the Bills earlier on in the year. The Bills are moderate against the run, but Devon Achane's rushing line is 49.5 rushing yards. That's a bit silly. That's very, very low. 10-11, I was expecting high 60s when I looked at this, honestly. But as I say, Buffalo are poor against the run. It does look better the last couple of weeks because they've blown 2 teams out with Tennessee, in which Tony Pollard, to be fair, we're not going to remind ourselves he had a good game, should have been better, but we won't go there. And then last week against Seattle, they just blew them out of the water from the get-go, and Seattle could never run the ball at all. The 2 running backs, they were both used in the passing game, yeah, but not on the rushing side of things. He's immediately become relevant once again now that Tua is back. He had a massive bounce-back game last week. He's scored so far, with Tua being healthy and playing, 24 yards and a touchdown, 96 yards and 97 yards. That's with Tua in the lineup. Tua is a massive part of this. Obviously, it helps just moving the ball, but Devon Achane, I think we'll have another big week. Raheem Mostert is back. Bad news for Devon Achane. However, it wasn't really as terms for this bet. Yes, Raheem Mostert found the end zone a couple of times, but he was really inefficient throughout the almost entirety of the game. He didn't do anything whatsoever yardage-wise. And the game that obviously we say Devon Achane rushed for 96 yards in, that was against Buffalo earlier on in the year. I think Devon Achane has another big week. He might not find the end zone for this bet. Don't really care about that. He really should go over 49.5. Devon Achane, if you're a fantasy manager of him, it's okay. He's back. As long as everyone stays healthy, he's going to be very good for the rest of the year. And Devon Achane, we might just mention him a little bit later on in the episode.
I was this far away from putting up Devon Achane. And this isn't the mention that you were just hinting at there that could become later in the episode. The only reason I didn't, and I still think he'll cover, but the only reason I didn't is because I think the Bills will win the game. And if Buffalo get out early, maybe Miami don't run the ball as much. But I concur with everything you said. He should easily cover. He's electric. He only needs really 5 good carries to cover. I can certainly see Devon. That's 2 games we've talked about there. We've talked about Dallas against Atlanta, and we've talked about the Bills against the Dolphins. And hopefully we've come up with 4 winning selections. I'm going to move on to a third game, and it's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals against the Las Vegas Raiders. This one's a simple selection. I'll keep it brief as well. I like the Bengals -6.5 at 4-5. Now, the crucial element here is -6.5. The current spread is -7. You're going to have to go into the additional point spread and look for 6.5. I think that's the key. I don't like betting 7. That's a touchdown. Most games, well, not most, but quite a few games are won by 7 points and you get pushes. We don't want pushes. We want winners. So 6.5 is the handicap I like. And it's only a little bit shorter in the market at 4-5. There has been some life in Las Vegas recently, ever since Devontae Adams has kind of wanted to leave and then left. They've gone down by 5 points to the Rams and 7 points to the Chiefs. 2 fine defeats. Not lost much pride in their performances as well. They've performed okay. However, they go to Cincinnati this week, a team that is desperate for a victory. They got blown out by Philly last week. It was embarrassing. They need to come back with a win to give themselves a chance of making the playoffs. Joey Burrow, we know when the pressure's down, he performs. And I like the Bengals to win this by at least a touchdown. There are reasons for suggesting that Las Vegas could keep it close. Gardner Minshew looked a lot better. Alexander Mattison's playing well. Obviously, they have got some wide receivers and especially tight end Brock Bowers that have a lot of ability. But you're going up against Jamar Chase. You're going up against Zach Moss and Chase Brown, a good running back duo. An in-form Joey Burrow. I like Eric All, tight end as well. He could do some damage in the latter part of this year. I think the Bengals win this by 7+. So give me the Bengals -6.5 at 4-5 as my second pick.
I think you hate the Raiders this year because you've taken them on 3 times.
I do. To be fair, I've had quite a lot of success doing so. Normally, it's not with a team on a handicap. Normally, it's like a player prop. I think Kyron Williams. Actually, no, it was the Rams. No, yeah, I put the Rams and the Raiders actually covered. So I haven't had much luck at all.
I was going to say the Raiders have been rude to you, I thought.
Yeah, they have. Hopefully, Bengals kind of get rid of that drought.
I can see in your eyes just a little bit of trauma.
Yeah, I just kind of felt that hurt again, that pain. It was horrible.
Just reliving it. Do you remember last week with Green Bay? Right. Let's end our selections. I'm going to go for 2. Tom will go for 2 as well. I'm going to start things off with Chris Olave, a player who we missed for a couple of weeks back now, but his receiving line is 64.5. That's 10-11. Again, I think that's pretty low. The good news for Chris Olave is that Rashid Shaheed is injured and is out for the rest of the season. We wish Rashid Shaheed a healthy recovery, but for now, great for Chris Olave. Last week, I own Chris Olave in Dynasty, and I benched him last week because he's with Spencer Rattler. I thought, you know what, I'll give him another week when Derek Carr comes back, i.e. right now, then he'll be a thing. But to be fair to Spencer Rattler, he was efficient with him. Managed 8 catches for 107 yards. It's an even bigger positive that Derek Carr is back. The first game, let's say, without Rashid Shaheed all year, they had played together, or Chris Olave hadn't played without him all year. He saw 14 targets go his way, and his yards per catch as well hit double figures for the first time since week 4. I think they use Chris Olave so wrong in New Orleans. I don't think Dennis Allen's a very good head coach regardless, but they use him horrifically. They never use him downfield when Rashid Shaheed's about, because they just say, well, Shaheed's faster. He's the guy. And annoyingly, it works. But for Chris Olave, he can do so much more than he's asked to do. Recently, I don't really think that the Panthers are anywhere near the team that we were hoping they might be in week 3 when Andy Dalton took over. But look, the Panthers, in recent weeks, they've conceded 100 yards to Cortland Sutton, 98 to Terry McLaurin, 74 to Drake London. DJ Moore got 105 on them. The feature receiver normally eats against the Carolina Panthers, and that by a long way is Chris Olave. The only concern I've got, and the only way this doesn't cover outside of injury, is if New Orleans get up big early on. If they do that, then possibly New Orleans will just sit things back. I was very close, Tom, in this game to putting up a 20-1 shot.
Who's that?
Kendre Miller to score the last touchdown.
Is he definitely fit?
That's one of the problems in that he's got a poorly hamstring again. But
mate, the guy lives with injured hamstrings.
Yeah, his hamstrings are made of wet toilet paper.
That's shocking. Move on.
It's true though. But yeah,
well, it's not true, is it? They're not made of wet toilet paper.
Dry toilet paper?
No. Move on.
All right. Ken Walker, he's a good guy for the Seattle Seahawks. He has been very good this year. If you took him in fantasy football, you are absolutely delighted. I know he missed one game, maybe 2 games earlier on in the season when Zach Charbonnet took over. But the Seahawks are coming off the back of getting absolutely whooped by the Buffalo Bills. It was an absolute disgrace of a Seahawks game. It was terrible from start to finish. And I was absolutely delighted I was at Disney throughout that entirety of the game and didn't have to watch a single second of it, which was real fun. But Ken Walker, he's been consistent in the receiving game so far this year. Look, Ryan Grubb, the new offensive coordinator, or not so new now, said he's going to be used in the passing game. And boy, he was not lying. He's been used fantastically. His line in the receiving game is 25.5 receiving yards at 10 to 11. He's received less than 5 targets twice so far throughout the course of the season. Last week against the Rams, or the Rams, I should say, they've allowed 2 catches for 37 yards to Aaron Jones, 3 catches for 31 yards to Alex Mattinson, 7 for 72 to DeAndre Swift. They do allow receiving backs to get involved in the game. DK Metcalf also missed Wednesday's practice. Tyler Lockett's limited with a new injury as well. So there's a possibility the Seahawks could be without both of those players. However, DK Metcalf, he is muted, and I'll check this in a second because I haven't checked in the last couple of hours. He is muted to be practicing on Thursday. But if he's got any reason to miss this game, which he did last week, then that's going to be a big positive for Ken Walker. And it should be a game that, once again, Seattle need to try and keep up in. If that happens, then Ken Walker is going to be a big thing in this contest. And 25.5, that line is wrong. Still no update on Metcalf. It says may return to practice on Thursday, no more than that. But I think Ken Walker, he'll be slotted in for his 4 or 5 targets once again, Tom. And with those 4 or 5 targets, he should go over 25.5.
Yeah, best of luck with both of those selections. All 5 of your selections, actually. You've got a good array this week, so I like it. I've also kind of gone with different bet types. You've obviously got running back, receiving yards, running back, rushing yards, wide receiver, a money line team. So you've gone with a variety, and I'm going with a variety as well. My third pick is going to be a quarterback, and it's going to be a touchdown, anytime touchdown. This isn't as left field as it sounds. Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Quite surprised odds against here, 6-5. Bearing in mind, Jalen Hurts is running 7 rushing touchdowns this year in 7 games. Now, caveat, 5 of those touchdowns have been in the last 2 games. He had 3 on Sunday. So, it's not like 1 per game. He's not super consistent with it. That being said, if they get within the 5-yard line of the opposition, they're giving the ball to Jalen. We know this. Barkley is fine with it, apparently. They're giving it to Jalen Hurts. The tush-push is in action from the 2-yard line onwards. Within the 5-yard line range, Jalen just runs the ball and, they tend to score. 99% of the time, they get in the end zone. So why would they change it? The Jacksonville Jaguars have been okay recently. Against the Packers last week, they were improved. Their second game in London, they were improved again. Prior to that, they were awful, terrible. But they're poor against quarterbacks who run the ball. Josh Allen in week 3 did well. Caleb Williams in week 6. Malik Willis, when he came in due to Jordan Love's injury last week, he ran the ball effectively. Jalen Hurts is probably the most potent QB at running the ball, especially in the red zone. So give me Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. Shall I move on to my last pick?
Yeah, I just want to say I love Saquon Barkley. Just every single year I get a new not as a football player. Football player is great. He seems like a wonderful guy. Like when he was going through the drafting process, I saw a video of him and just they took him to a zoo just to record him. And he was throwing food into a pelican's mouth just from distance. He's saying, get buckets. Like, hilarious. And then last week, did you see the Nick Sirianni thing? When
I
think it
didn't.
was last week or a couple of weeks ago, Sirianni went and sat down next to him and said, "Oh, you need like 11 yards for your personal best. Like, I want you to get it. Do you want to go
Oh,
back?"
I did see that.
And then Barkley's like, "No, I'm cool. Just let the younger guys have some runs. I don't need that."
Yeah.
Like, the Sirianni's like, "No, come on. Like, if you want to go back in, that's fine." He's like, "No, genuinely, send the younger." Love Saquon Barkley. There's plenty of NFL players. They do some questionable things from time to time, but Saquon Barkley, what a guy.
Yeah, he is a good guy, to be fair. And yeah, Will Shipley went in. He actually got a touchdown when Saquon was sat on the sidelines and allowed Shipley in. Got a touchdown, but it was ruled back due to a penalty, which is a bit unfortunate. But anyway, I'll move on to my fourth and final selection this week, which I don't love it, but we need a pick in prime time. Okay, and so I'm going for the Vikings v Colts. This is 10-11. This is probably my least confident of the picks. Not so fast. This is my play of the day. I'm doing this two podcasts in a row.
I was going to say, I was like, really? This is my favourite selection of yours.
Yeah, I started the podcast saying I don't have much energy, but I've gained energy throughout the pod. So here we go. This is my play of the day. Vikings v Colts, over 46.5 total points. 10-11 is your price right now. I love this one. I absolutely love this one. I will be staying up to watch it, of course. This game features two teams who have actually shown pretty good talents on defense throughout the year, especially the Vikings in the first 5 weeks. However, there's a crucial element here. The Vikings have lost 2 straight. They got thumped by Detroit, and then last week they were disappointing against the Rams when we both thought they would win. They need a victory. They're going to be all guns blazing on offense this week. They're going to look for Justin Jefferson every possible moment, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, all of these weapons. TJ Hawkinson is potentially back as well. The Vikings are going to put up points. This year, they're averaging 27 points when they play at home, and I think they're going to at least hit that here against the Colts. Therefore, we need the Colts to score 20 points maximum if we think that the Vikings are going to score 27 plus. What's the key to the Indianapolis Colts scoring points? Joe Flacco at QB. Anthony Richardson benched. The guy is a loose cannon, quite literally with his arm. It is a cannon, but it is not accurate by any stretch of the imagination. He's only a young QB. He's only 22. He was missing targets. Michael Pittman just wasn't getting on with him on the playing field. Josh Downs was okay with Richardson, but Downs is way better with Flacco. This week, Flacco, the veteran QB, comes in, always does his job, always manages to do it for any team. Could be the Browns, it could be the Colts, it could be the Ravens. Send Flacco somewhere, he'll do his job. Playing him this week, the Colts, against the Vikings, I think they're going to be able to move the ball. They've got Jonathan Taylor playing much better football now in this part of the middle part of the season. I think the Colts score at least 20 points in this game, and therefore the over should hit. I can see this, at worst, being a 27-24 or a 30-23 kind of game. So I love the over. Over 46.5 points in this matchup in prime time. This will be the last selection of all of ours in terms of time during the day, and hopefully we can end with a winner.
Yeah, I love that. I think you're going to end with a bang. I'm a big fan of that. And Josh Downs and Michael Pittman both practicing today, which is a very key thing in regards to that bet. I'm being told off because we need to leave for trick-or-treating. So, Tom, let's go through your selections and give us your play of the day and a bit of oomph as well.
Sure. Okay. Obviously, this is the roundup section. People may have skipped to this part. Go and listen to the analysis if you want to further back. But here's the roundup. Selection number 1, Khalil Shakir for the Buffalo Bills, over 50.5 receiving yards at 10-11 against the Miami Dolphins. Selection 2, the Cincinnati Bengals minus 6.5 on the additional point spread versus the Las Vegas Raiders. That's at 4-5. Selection 3, Jalen Hurts for the Philadelphia Eagles, anytime touchdown against the Jacksonville Jaguars at 6-5. And selection 4, my play of the day, over 46.5 total points between the Minnesota Vikings and the Indianapolis Colts. Go Joe Flacco.
Exactly. Welcome to 1995. My 5 selections: Jake Ferguson, over 45.5 receiving yards. That's a 10-11. In the same game, I'm going to take Dallas to win it as well. Their money line 5-4. The outsiders on the road against Atlanta. Chris Olave over 64.5 receiving yards, 10-11. Ken Walker over 25.5 receiving yards, important on that side of things, at 10-11 as well. And Devon Achan is my play of the day, over 49.5 rushing yards at 10-11. Looking to take my play of the day to 8-1. We'll look to extend that streak. But Tom, I'm going to go trick-or-treating. Enjoy, I would say, what's left of your Halloween. You've got like an hour and a half left.
Yeah, I'm just going to be doing some work and then watching the Thursday Night Football, so not a lot, to be honest. Another reminder, guys, go and check out SBK. We've talked to you about their offers and why they're so good to use. The link will be in the bio down below. If you haven't got an account with SBK, click the link, sign up, and you'll get £40 in free bets if you bet your first £10. T&Cs do apply. We've covered all that already, max stakes. But yeah, go and check out SBK. They're fantastic for these NFL selections. And hopefully we can have a very good and profitable weekend.
Yeah, and if we get winners together, you'll trigger that 25% bonus as well on NFL accumulators. But I'm going to go trick-or-treating, going to go get me some American candy. Feels weird saying it. Don't like it. Tom, I will see you next week. Go check out all our Breeders' Cup stuff as well. We'll be with you at the start of next week. Until then, stay safe. Look after another.